Hi there, this is Kathy Crow back at the Crow Cottage, and it is another beautiful day here. We have a lot of them at this time of the year. This is my favorite favorite time of year to stay home. We have a lot of things we're going to have to leave town to go do here pretty soon, and I love to do those things, but I like to leave here in July when it gets hot, and not in May, not in June, but anyway. So today, thinking about how nice it is, I'm going to do this card. This is Beach Happy stamp set, and it is a retiring stamp set. So if you like it, you're going to want to, you know what, I think the hilarious thing is, did I put it away? I've got like 4 stamp cases here, and haha, good, scared myself. Okay, it is called Beach Happy. I was finding it just to make sure, but I actually needed to do this, the whole thing. So this is such a cute set. You're going to love that one. So I would definitely buy it. I was playing with some other things too, and that's why it got put away. Oh, silly me. So anyhow, we have a new stamp suite of products. They are calling it a medley. Everything's coming up, or no, everything's rosy. It reminds me of the Everything's Coming Up Roses. Everything is rosy is what it's called. And it's really beautiful. I haven't seen it in person. I've only seen online people opening it, and it looks really cool. So today I'm going to get mine, and I'm excited to use it, and I'm sure I'll use it next week's live video. Share the video, then you get a chance to win stuff. People have been doing that, and it is very kind of them to do that. I appreciate it, because it's the only way I can get my information out there to anybody. So thank you for sharing, and I'm going to put up above my space that I'm going to be working in today, all the information for my class, because this Friday, the Best Catch class is going, and you have to register. I've got a lot of stuff to cut out for it, so if you do not register by Wednesday, I can't have you come. Sorry, I just won't have class if no one shows up, or if no one registers by then, because I'm not sure if anyone has, and I know there are people that said they would come, but I kind of need to know, right? So at any rate, if you wanted to do this class, you have to have the Best Catch bundle, and in order to get that bundle, you would have to order it. I don't even know if you could. If you ordered it today and you got spent the extra for 2 days shipping, you could do it with us still. But you would need to order all the stuff that's with it, or have things that are similar. So message me if you want to do it online with us. I'd love to have you do it. Hi there, Freddie. It's awesome. It's neat to see you. And I forgot to get my computer going. So unless I see it right here on the phone, which I'm not going to be looking at here in a second, I won't see comments. So I'm going to have to take a moment, I guess, to do my computer. I can't believe that I didn't get this set up already. Sometimes I get distracted like with a million things, and right now out in the garden there's like a lot to distract me, because we have in our garden today, not only are our lilacs all blooming, and it's beautiful, it smells so wonderful out there, but also our iris just started to open up, so we have some purple. There's the one that's a really pale white iris. It's beautiful. So we have those out there, and just all of the other things that I've planted that are, annuals, those are going too. So excuse me just for a second. I'm going to put my computer over here on the stand that this is on, and it's probably going to jiggle a bit, but I kind of need to do that so that I can see it. And then I'm gonna move the camera around. I'm gonna jiggle you again, because I have to do this. I don't really know exactly a better way of getting this out here. So I'm just kind of adjusting you so that you can see the work surface. You can see my advertisement for my class, and I wish we had some mellophones. That is a good one. That would be that would probably be unfortunate, though, don't you think, for the way people use their phones? Actually, if I could do it, I could, yeah, take it right over there to the garden, and which is what I like to do. I like to go over to the garden and see what's blooming, and then I could show you guys. And you could smell the flowers with me, because I do love to share my garden. I need to do it more. I used to do it a little bit more often, but right now I am doing a lot of cards, so I have not spent as much time in the garden as I'd like to, and I also am just not sending flowers like I used. I used to take flowers to people more often, and I kind of stopped doing that. Oh, my class advertisement is back to front. Let me peek here. I'm gonna stick this up here and see. Oh, I did. You're right. I forgot to switch the camera around. I wonder if I can still do it. Let's have a peek here. And if not, then I forgot to do all kinds of little things there that normally I do. Okay. So now hopefully that's in it. Thank you so much for telling me. I appreciate that. Okay. So we'll see if I got everything going. I hope you can see. I'm sort of messing around here with my computer still, and I'll leave it there just for a minute so that I can see. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, now that should be better. And I'm so glad you were watching and saw that. That's so funny. So anyway, on my desk, I've got all of the bundles I'm going to be using today. This is all of my information that I just wanted to make sure that you can do classes with me live online. I am doing them online when we do it. It's kind of fun to do that. It's been interesting. I've only done one, but it went pretty well, so I feel confident about it. I don't know that you'd be able to now unless you already had the Best Catch bundle at hand, because to order that from Stampin' Up, you would have to pay for expedited shipping to get that in time. So you probably don't want to do that. I know I hate to spend that kind of money for shipping. It seems like a lot. Okay, I'm sort of backing the camera up. I'm hoping that I'm clear. All right, so for this card today, we're using this Beach Happy. It is a retiring stamp. And for the sand, I know I'm going to use the water in high tide, but I do not really like the sand just because it's supposed to go around your lighthouse, and I don't want to mess with that. To tell you the truth, I'm not really all that happy with the effect that this sand stamp gives. I'm also going to play with the I thought I used something off of Waterfront for this stamp set, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't see what I could have used, because I believe I think I was going to use this one and discarded it. So never mind. I don't think we're actually using Waterfront. I think I'm using that. But I am going to use this stamp right here in the Timeless Textures. Now this is a stamp set that Stampin' Up! Has had quite a while. It is retiring though, so it's going to be gone. I hope it's not gone already, because this is actually one of my favorite ones. The stamps are short enough that it's somewhat difficult to get the effect you want if you were going to do a let's say 4.5 or 4.25 by 5.5 inch background, for your card. These are a little small. They're not quite as good as if you had a big background stamp with these designs. But I really like the design so well, and usually we are using, it's kind of that grunge effect. You use a stamp off technique generally with these anyway. And then I do love this one. This one's beautiful, and this one. So I've used this stamp set a lot, and this is the stamp we're going to use for the sand today. And then I like this car, this little car on the beach. It's a perfect car to be on the beach, I think. And then when I saw this on Beach Happy, when I saw it has all the sayings I like. It has relax, you deserve it. I love anything with relax, happy, beach, sunny, and thanks. Okay, I'm sold. It's a great stamp set if it has those words. You don't even have to use the other words if you don't want to. Just those words are good. So I also am going to do a little stitched labels thing here. So I've already got that cut out, but I will have to cut the car out after we've stamped it. All right, so enough of all of that. And then I also today, I wanted to just share with you, this is a little card someone made for me for Easter. This is a lady that's on our team. Thank you so much, Diana. You are wonderful. I love this stamp. Now, this is not Stampin' Up! Stuff, but she got the cross from Hold On to Hope and made this. Oh, isn't it beautiful? I love it. And I'm going to share it on my other page too because it's so beautiful. But I forgot to do it before. I've had so many things that I wanted to talk about that I keep keeping it here to do and have not done. So that was Diane's. It's a beautiful card. Okay. So I saw this idea on Pinterest a long time ago, putting the car with this Beach Happy set, and I've been wanting to do it for the longest time, and I just now am getting a chance to do it. And my Stampin' Up! My trimmer, I need a new blades, and I know I bought blades, but I can't find them anywhere, so I'm a little disheartened about that. And this card is 5 inches, okay, by 11. So we're gonna go 5 inches this direction. Okay, and we'll get my score blade here for the 5.5. Okay, and that's gonna be that base card. I usually just do it on white because then I don't have to make another separate piece for the inside. It's easier for me actually to just assemble, fronts. Oops, I did forget though. I'm gonna need another piece of Whisper White to cut out that top. So let me grab that out. I'm gonna be glad to get my order in today because I'm getting very low on my Whisper White. Hi, Linda. I'm so happy you joined us. Thank you for coming in and sharing. Awesome. Congratulations on winning that share last time. I hope my camera's not so close that things can't be seen well. I'm kind of a little concerned about that. So let me bump you up just a bit. There we go. Okay. And back down so I can see who's here. Okay, so I just needed to get a piece because I need my main piece. And I did not do any of my measurements, so I'm going to have to just look at it here and see what it is before I cut it out. That one is 4 7/8. Wow. 4 7/8 by 5 and 5 and okay, 4 7/8. I can trim it if I need to because I'm not really confident about how much. Usually as I go, I trim things up. See, that's just a tad bit bigger than it actually was. And because when I made this card, of course, I made this and then I trimmed it, and I mean, that's how we do these things generally when you're just kind of coming up with stuff. So it's just 5 and not a quarter. What is it when it's over 1? It must be like a third. Okay. There, that's good. My blades are just leaving tiny bit of fuzz on the edge. And I know I put in, since Stampin' Up! Has discontinued their trimmer, I know that all of those things are going to go quickly, and I I know I put in an order for blades, and I don't know if they just didn't have them or whether I got them and then I just sort of stuck it to the side somewhere and lost them because I can't find my blades. I've looked, and it reminds me of this last weekend. I came in, told my husband, I think we have some little purloiner in the neighborhood, because out in our garden we have a lot of garden ornaments, and my little owl, it's a little metal owl. He's super cute though. He's more cute than most ornaments are, and because he's metal, he's lightweight. I like metal in our yard just because our wind here is really terrible, strong, you know, all the time. So he blows down a lot. When I saw that he disappeared, I just assumed that little owl had blown down, and you know, I'd find him. I always find him eventually. And then I looked everywhere for him and I couldn't find him. And then I also couldn't find my really super nice shovel that has measurements. It's really long. It's a trowel, but it's about this long, and it has serrated edges on the end. So I can actually do some sawing on roots if I'm digging, and it has measurements, you know, like up to 6 inches on that blade. So anyway, I was so disgusted when I thought somebody maybe had stolen my shovel, and then when I saw my owl missing too, I thought, well, shoot, maybe we've got a little thief in the neighborhood, some kid, you know, it's possible, it happens. And but I never did find my shovel. I'm sure it's buried out in the yard under a plant, because eventually I thought, oh, come on, nobody would want that owl. It's not that nice. It's just, you know, it's not the kind of thing even I don't think a kid would even want it. And yeah, it was under the hosta leaves. It had just blown under there, so I did find it. And then I felt very foolish for having accused anyone. Okay, so now I finally got this is actually garden green. This is going to be, I think this is still available in the catalog, but it's going to be gone. It's an old color. We've had it a long time, and I'm trying to use it up. So for this card, what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to stamp the sand, and let's see, what am I using? I don't have it out, but I am using Sahara sand for the sand, imagine that, and another old color that I don't even know if it's available anymore, but I've gotten it back out because it's close to cocoa. I think this is one that actually is still in the catalog, but it is a nice dark brown, and I need that nice dark brown, so I'm hoping that it isn't going to be gone. Let's look here really quick at colors and see if we still have close to cocoa. I think it's an old one. I don't see it in here. It must be gone, because early espresso is the dark one that replaced this close to cocoa, but to tell you the truth, early espresso is not quite, I don't get as dark of an impression with it, so I'm not as happy with it. Okay, so we're going to do the Sahara sand, and we're going to use the, let me move my things out of the way so I can function here. Linda, your husband's hiding? Yeah, well, I came in, and when I told Jeff, he said, really, you think somebody took that? I said, well, I'm sure they took the shovel, okay? Since the owl's gone now, too, I'm thinking maybe, you know, it's all been, because the shovel, I'm sure I had it out. I left it out by our street. By the front street, we have a lilac, and a friend of mine had just asked if she could have a start from that lilac, and I found a really good one. I took that shovel out, dug it up, put it in a pot, but I think I left my shovel, and it was close to the street. So actually, I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and I'm going to find that shovel bit, but it is possible that it's gone. So Jeff never goes out and does anything in the yard unless I ask him to. So, and then he has to go out with me. He's a wonderful husband. He does anything I want him to. But he'll say, okay, yeah, I'll be happy to prune. Just tell me if it's something that he can prune where he can just prune it practically down to the ground and it's going to be fine, then I can set him loose and say, go prune that bush. And he will happily do it, and he does a great job. But if it's pruning where it has to be at certain lengths or anything's, particular about it, then he says, okay, you have to come out and show me. And then I have to tell him, okay, and I have to get right to the branch, that branch, prune it here. He's so funny. And then he's perfectly happy, me telling him that. That's what blows my mind. Because I would go nuts. I would just say, I'm not going to help you. If you're going to be that particular about it, then forget it, prune your own thing. But no, he's perfectly happy. And it kind of came about that we had to do that because I had hurt my back and shoulders one year so bad that I couldn't even work for about 6 weeks. It was really horrible. And so for 2 years, he had to do all of my pruning for me. So he was happy with it. I was happy with it. But I'm so glad I can do my own pruning now that I'm feeling better. So I'm going to stamp off to get this sand effect because this Sahara sand's pretty light, but it's still not light enough. So I'm just going to kind of work my way up the card and see how it goes. Okay, that's pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect up here at the top because your water's gonna, kind of overlap a little bit anyway. Yeah, you're right, Freddie. Happy wife, happy life. That's so true. Jeff knows. That's why he doesn't care if I spend a bunch of money on Stampin' Up stuff. He does care. He says, of course I care. When I say, oh, Jeff doesn't care how much money I spend on this. He'll say, no, I do care, but I care about making you happy. So he's happy. I'm happy. He's happy. So we're done with our Sahara sand. And now we're going to put in the water. So our water is from High Tide. I love the way this water stamp works. It actually does look like waves out there. It's perfect. So we'll use the bigger one because I'm not sure that that's going to... No, I guess it'll fit on there. Okay. And I'm going with the Balmy Blue. And we'll just do we're going to do a stamp off test here because I kind of forget how strong this goes on. And yeah, it's pretty strong, so I don't want it to be as strong as all that. So we'll go like this. Again, you're not going for perfection here. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't need a lot up at the top because I want to have plenty of room for my palm tree fronds to be above that water. I don't want to have to put this tree so close to the edge of the beach that it looks ridiculous because to me already those trunks are a little close. I would have liked to have put them down here, but the trunks are short enough that they needed to be there. So I'm going to just leave it here. And the fact that it comes up like this on your beach actually is a benefit. It's a good thing. So we're going to leave that. It's a very forgiving, both of those stamps are very forgiving. You can just sort of do what you want to with it and it's going to be good. Oh my goodness, it's already 1:30. I must have started late or I just jammed or, chatted way too much at the beginning. Sorry if I'm keeping you. Okay, so we're done with the High Tide. I guess I do need the sun, but before we do the sun, we're going to have to sponge in our sky. I ended up just sponging it in and also using my Copic blending pen. Okay, I'm doing both things with that. And I do want to do my trees before I do that though, because I guess I could do it before I do the trees. I actually, how did I do it? I kind of forget now. I think I did my trees and then did my sponging, but now I'm a little unsure. So let's go ahead and do the sun and sponge the sky, because I don't want to, I think my trees are going to stamp just fine right over that balmy blue, or that, it's actually soft sky is what I'm going to use. I'm kind of bringing out a bunch of retired stuff because I love this soft sky. This is an old stamp pad that they had. I don't know when this color left. I could look at a date probably and see what it was. But anyway, it's a very soft, soft blue. So that is what I'm going to use for the sky. And if you use another color, you're just going to have to, you know, dab your sponge quite a bit before you actually put it on your page. Okay, now we're going to do this sun right up here at the top. Now, I know I remember. This is why I wanted the trees on first, because I didn't want to put my sun too close to that. That's why. I knew there was some kind of logic there. So we'll go ahead and do my tree. So we'll use Close to Cocoa for the trunks. And we'll put that aside. We'll get out our Beach Happy. And I love that these are those photopolymer stamps. They're so much easier to work with. But I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna curve it. Okay, that's the thing you can do with these photopolymer ones. You can get exactly the curve that you want for your. Oh, I'm curving it the wrong way though. I can do this other one. We'll curve it slightly though. That one is just slightly curved. And we're gonna stick it partially on and partially off. Looks like my brick got a bit of on there. So now I need to reposition it because I actually need it to be curved this other way. This is the way palm trees always grow, right? At least in pictures. I'm not sure that they do in real life, but in pictures they grow with this nice curve. And then this one will just kind of slight. Okay. Okay, so there's my trunk. I've got a little smudge there, but that's okay because it is going to be covered by my card. And that is it with this. We're going to use this for the words in my circle, but other than that, we're done with Close to Cocoa. And then we've got the palm fronds actually on this. It has this main big one, which is all I'm going to use, but it actually also has a couple of little tiny ones so that you can put layers if you want, and that looks really good, but I don't really need to. I like them just the way they are. And so we're using Granny Apple Green, and I'm gonna just do another sample here to make sure that's the hue I want, because sometimes I stamp off and then forget to do it here. But this card, we're just doing the straight color as it is. And as you can see, because of my trunks, my placement's just a tiny bit different, but it doesn't really matter. Still looks great. It's a great stamp. I'm going to be sorry to see this stamp go. They're called the ponytail palms. Ponytail palms? Why? I'm not sure I understand why it's a ponytail. Is it because of the thin trunk and then... You're going to have to explain that one to me. Ponytails. I'm missing something there. I'm not the sharpest knife in the block. Somehow I'm missing something. You can explain it to me, maybe. Okay, this stamp set has this wonderful little chaise, well, it's not a chaise lounge, but a beach chair, and it's beach umbrella and the bag and all that. I love all of that, but I'm not using it today because I want to do the car. Okay, so the car is going to fit in here. We've got plenty of room for that sun, and I'm not going to use my garden green anymore because I actually wanted to, or this is granny apple green. I'm going to use the garden green for those grasses. And let's get that sun stamped. That is with the Mango Melody. Pretty strong. It's a little bright, but at least it's the right, oops, my stamp fell right off. I must be needing to clean that guy because he shouldn't have just fallen off like that. Because they curve to the side. Okay, that makes sense. So they're not all called ponytail palms. It's just the ones that curve to the side. Thank you. Thank you for explaining to me. I wasn't 100% sure how it could be called that. Now I get it. They're really pretty trees. That's one of the things when we go to California, when we get to the part of the trip where I can start to see some palm trees, it's like, yes, this trip is actually happening. I wasn't sure we were really going there until now I can see the trees, and they are so beautiful. I really love them. I think mostly just because they evoke a lot of relaxation. I've never lived where there are palm trees, so I only associate it with vacation time. All right, so the last thing that we're going to use as a stamp will just be the words beach happy and the grasses. And those grasses must be in high tide. Yes, there they are. They are in high tide. So we'll go ahead and do them just to get them out of the way. And then I put this stamp set aside. There's just so many little stamps here. They've got this one, and then they've got these little teeny tiny ones too. But I doubt that I'm going to use these little ones. I think I'm just using the main one right here. Okay, and I'm using garden green on this. Okay. And this stamp is actually, it's getting a little dry. So I need to push, and I have it to the side here. You probably couldn't see. I'm actually pushing pretty good. Now this is an old pad, that I bought, who knows when, quite a while ago. And they weren't as juicy in those days. And so you could push pretty hard. These days, now if you did that, you'd have ink all down into the crevices and where you don't want them. So for those of us who are used to our old pads, it's been quite a change trying to adapt and not push down so hard. But I like that I don't have to either. That's been nice. Okay, and now we get to do our fun part, which is the sponging part. And I know I could get my brayer out. I have a brayer, and I have a really old brayer. It's sort of like way in the back here. I'd have to even find it. But I'm going to just use my makeup sponge. This is just a regular sponge. I do have, and I should get it out because I am going to need it. I have a dauber, and oops, I have one that I used already. Where is it? Because this is the one that I want. This is the one that I think, although that doesn't look, oh no, what did I do? I thought I left my dauber out that I'd used yesterday. Oh, fiddlesticks. I don't even see it. Okay, well, I am going to have to use a new one then because I don't I don't see the one that I used yesterday because you're gonna see as I work with this sponge, whatever shape your sponge has, that is what's gonna want to transfer. It's gonna want to transfer that shape. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just start off the card on my paper and kind of work my way on to. That's looking awfully green. I think it's transferring some ink off of it. I thought that was the one I used, but it must not be. I don't want green on here. The thing about my hand, this little hand dauber, is because it's circular, I can get pretty close to my sun and just go right around the sun, and it's going to go on it a tiny bit. But you know what? It's not going to leave any lines from my sponge. If I just used that sponge, I'm afraid it would leave a triangular line because I would have to be going like this, and then I'm afraid it'll leave a line. Let me try it a little bit here and see if I get what I'm talking. See, like right here, you're seeing it's kind of not, it's not the same. So actually, if you want to take the time and use a dauber, this is going to give you a much, I don't know, more even and smooth sponging effect. I do want to kind of use it around my trees here. Anywhere where I'm going to have to take my sponge and kind of go in, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to use the finger dauber. And as you can see, now I haven't had to go off at all. It's very light, isn't it? That's why I like this Soft Sky stamp set. Or stamp pad. It's probably available on eBay, I bet, somewhere. They have them. I wouldn't buy one. It's old enough that you might get something all dried up, so I wouldn't buy one. But I do have a re-inker for it. When green sky would be different, you're right. I think it's going to be okay. I think I covered it up enough with this blue. But we're going to just have a little dark corner going over there. When this stamp pad came out, I got plenty of re-inkers for it because I kind of suspected this one wasn't going to last long, and they generally last 2 years, but sometimes it seems like they go faster than that. So now I'm kind of in desperation, not wanting to take too much time here. I am trying to use my sponge, but here is where you see what happens when you use a sponge. You're going to have some lines might show up, and so if I was going to do this card and want to be super careful about it and have it turn out perfectly, I would use that dauber the whole way. But I have my Copic pen because my Copic pen is going to make any imperfections disappear, so somewhat. So I'm just going to use my Copic pen to go over the top, and it's just going to make it a little bit darker. There are some lines, not too bad, but as the Copic pen dries, it's gonna disappear. And I'm going in this direction because if you were going to look at a sky, you would see lines in the sky just because of wispy clouds and whatnot going in that direction. Now around my sun, it's a little trickier because I don't really want to just do a circle around him, but might have to a little bit just to kind of even it out a bit. Okay, probably messed that up, but that's okay. We'll use my sponge to try to fix it. Time's going. Okay, there we go. Pretty good. There's just a little bit here and there that I'm not quite as happy about, but it is a handmade card, so some imperfections are actually a good thing. So now for my my car, I'm going to just take a piece. Actually, I've got where I cut out my other one. I'll just do it here. I'm going to stamp my garage, geared up garage car right here, and then we'll cut it out. And that's what my Memento Black is out for. Just Linda, I love hearing that clock. You know what the funny thing is about my clock? My daughter visited us. Our daughter is about 36 years old, and she's very responsible, very kind, very nice person, right? So we have a futon in this room, and she was using this as her guest room. And she had her purse like right next to my piano, which is what that clock is sitting on, and it was open. Her purse was down on the floor, open, and I didn't really notice. I was talking to her in here in this room, and winding up that clock, because that clock has a shut-off valve, a switch, and I wanted to shut it off right then when I was thinking about it, because when you're trying to sleep at midnight and that thing's going off, it's very unpleasant for the people that are sleeping in this room. And I sometimes have forgotten, and the kids are so polite, they don't mess with stuff. They just in the next morning say, yeah, it went off, but it was okay. It's like, how could you sleep? It's pretty loud. It doesn't have a evening switch or anything on it. It's just off, but you have to kind of know where that switch is. So anyhow, I was switching it off so that she wouldn't have to listen to it in the middle of the night. And while I was doing that, I remembered, oh yeah, I got to wind it up, because if I don't want it to, while I have the switch off, it'll just completely wind down and stop, and I wouldn't even know, because that clock, the sound, the tone of the chimes gets slower and slower, and that's how I know it needs to be wound. And with it off, I wouldn't hear that and wouldn't know it needed it. So I was winding it. Now I'm using the same color yellow here as I did for the sun. This is Mango Melody, but I'm going to use the light one, not the dark one. And I didn't know, I was chatting away, wound the clock, and went to put the key back in its spot. It's just in I have a little dish of shells right near that clock, and I keep the key in this little dish of like beach shells and some stones that are in there. And I didn't notice my key fell out of my hand. I kind of noticed it. I dropped it accidentally. I thought I was trying to put it, dropped it, went into my daughter's purse, apparently. I noticed I dropped it, but she asked me at that very moment a question, something I needed to answer. So I'm going to use my dark Mango Melody to just do the dark parts of the car where there are lines to show, where there's shadow, and then I'm going to do light to blend it all. But anyway, she asked me a question. I had to go somewhere with her to answer this question. Kind of mentally noted that I dropped that key. Make sure you remember to pick it up. But I did not notice it went into her purse. So after the visit was over, and about a week later, the clock's, making its sounds, getting slower and slower. And I come in to wind it, and I cannot find that key for the life of me. Like, where's my key to wind the clock? And then I remembered, oh yeah, I dropped it. Maybe it's under the piano. And I thought, oh my goodness, if it's not under the piano, I do not want to move that piano, and find it's not under because that's a pretty big undertaking to move the piano. So I thought maybe Mary saw it and put it somewhere. So I will call her first and see. So I texted her, and she said, oh yeah, I found that in my purse, and I wondered what the heck it was. And I'll mail it back to you. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm so glad she didn't throw it away, because if I'd found that in my purse, I probably would have thought, what piece of junk fell in my purse, and how did that happen? And I might have tossed it. So I was so grateful she had not thrown it away. But I'll have to say this. My daughter, Mary, is wonderful, but she's not she doesn't always get things to me as quick as I want. And I love that clock, and I wanted to hear it. And I thought, well, you know what? It might take her months to get that key to me. It's possible. And I think I wouldn't mind having an extra key, because I suspect that this is going to happen to me again, where I'm going to lose that key, because this is the life I live now. I forget things. So I went ahead and ordered another key, and she did mail it to me actually pretty quickly, but I had the other key, and I was using it happily for a while before the one she sent to me came. So anyway, the clock is nice. I do like it, and I was surprised that I missed its chiming as much as I did when it was out of commission. Now I know I did something for my headlights. I think it was smoky slate, but as long as I'm using this small end, I think it won't be too dark, because this smoky slate sometimes is just, it's a little on the dark side, but there, it's just enough to kind of fill in, and you really don't even have to even do that. But I'm not going to touch my headlights. I'm afraid that, I guess the only thing I could do is I could do my Copic pen maybe on that and on the window, because it has to be something pretty light, and Stampin' Up's blending pens are not as light as that, other than it's the color lifter. Now I do sometimes use the soft suede, the soft soft sea foam. Light soft sea foam is the lightest one, and it works really well if you don't mind a little green tinge, but I don't really want a little green tinge. Okay, so here's the little thinlits, and this Garage Gears thinlits has this wonderful gear piece. I love that, and it cuts out all these other little doodads for this stamp set too. But I'm gonna just off camera here run this through my machine, which I am no longer naming anymore, and any cutting machine that will do an embossing folder or dies will cut your dies. I guess that's what I'm trying to. It's kind of hard to reach across here and roll that through, because usually I need some muscle to do that, and I managed, but I probably was in the camera while I was doing it. So there's your card. Your card. Cute, huh? I would have liked it to be maybe another color, but I didn't want to have too many colors going on here. So there's that. We'll put this away. Speaking of losing things, that's what happens. Hey, Marty, it's good to see you. Awesome. And you shared. Excellent. Marty, you have fun with I bet you're doing something fun with your grandkids. I feel slightly jealous about that. That's wonderful. I do get to see our grandkids a little bit. And when we go to our daughter's wedding, I'll get to see them a bunch. I'm going to love that. That'll be really fun, because our son with his wife are going to be there with their kids. We're all going to stay in the same house together, and it's going to be a blast. We're going to have a wonderful time. All right, so I want to use my dimensionals just to put the car up a little bit. And then we'll stamp that and put that right on the beach, right over my little spot there. Oh, isn't that cute? And then I folded that in half. I didn't really need to, because I have that other card, but I guess I can just do this like this. And then instead of using this one like I was planning to, I'll just cut a white piece to go on the inside. Oh no, I can't, because look, what happened there? That must be an old, oh boy, I'm glad I saw that. I'm gonna wanna cut that off and use that. Whew, that's not good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my sentiment from Beach Happy on here. This Relax, You Deserve It is perfect for anybody. There is a Wishing You Sunny Days. Since I have a Relax, I might use the Wishing You Sunny Days, because I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with my Relax, because, the Beach Happy one, that's not the one I want. I want this one. There we go. I like the relax. It's good. It's perfect for everybody. Everybody needs to relax a little bit, right? Okay, so we'll put that on there. I'm using my Close to Cocoa again. Right there. I did it a little lower. If you're a bow person, you could put a little bow or a tie there. I'm going to be giving this to a guy, I'm sure, so I think we won't. Linda, you stay with your sister-in-law. Oh, and she has lots of chiming clocks. I bet some people aren't fond of it. I love it, and I have one other clock that chimes, but it is not a key wound one, so its chimes are electronic, and it's still pretty, but I don't care for it as much. So I was thrilled when I could get this clock very inexpensively, I think, on Etsy. I believe I got it on Etsy. And it's a great clock. But anyway, I have had people, I'm an organist. When I was, I played the organ for a Catholic church in Spokane, a big pipe organ for years. And in Spokane, where I grew up and learned how to play, there's a big church, a big church that has a giant pipe organ, and they have a bell tower. So there's actually an organ in its basement that plays the bells. So, I don't know. I think they are still doing it. They do it probably only on Sunday mornings and do maybe just a couple of hymns. And you can hear those songs on the bells all around that area, and I loved it because I love hymns and I loved the bells. I just think they're beautiful. And they will do concerts once in a while, and sometimes my husband and I will go up there, and you just sit on the lawn around the church, and the organist plays, and it's just a regular organ down in the basement. It's a little bit different. I think I never played it, but I think that there's a little bit more of a special touch to playing it. But at any rate, we do have a church here that has bells, but it never goes. And one time I was coming out with some other people I worked with into the parking lot of a building that was like right next door to it. And at noontime they do chime. But I know it has an organ. It could actually play if it wanted to. And, or if someone wanted it to. Anyway, whoever I was coming out with said, "Oh, those bells, I hate that sound." I'm thinking, you have got to be the most curmudgeonly person in the world, and I would have never thought that of you, except that how could you not like the sound of the bells? They're beautiful, and anyway, I was astounded. I just thought, well, some people don't like the bells, so there you go. So some people probably would not be thrilled with my clock chiming all the time, but fortunately, that's too short. Now see, this is what happens when you cut. This is gonna be tricky now, because I might have to dig out another piece of garden green somewhere. Oh good, that's gonna work as long as I don't trim it anymore and try to get my scored side straight a little bit. I'm trying to use up an old piece of garden green here, and I think I can make it do. So good, that will work. But yeah, can you believe some people don't like the bells? I love the bells. I was in a bell choir. In fact, was it that church? I think it was a different church, but they had a bell choir. A long time ago, a lot of churches had bell choirs, didn't they? I'm not sure why it went out of fashion, because it did. And in fact, the church we attend, I found a whole bunch of bells. They used to have a hand bell. So I'm not talking about the organ bells. This is different now. The hand bells, a hand bell choir. They do sound similar though. And, but everybody had a handbell choir, and I was part of it. I loved it. It was so much fun, and I just love the music. I love going and listening to it. But that, like many things, is probably considered old-fashioned, and people probably got too busy, didn't have time to come and practice with the bell choir anymore, and a lot of churches got rid of their, I was a paid organist, and not only that, there was another person who was at the church I took lessons at. They had a paid organist, but they also had a paid music director who was, in charge of getting all kinds of things organized music-wise. So it was I think it was just, in those days, things were more elaborate. Okay, I forgot. I'm not supposed to be using my rubber cement. So I am using my rubber cement, but only accidentally. And here's my Tombow. It's very used, because I do use it a lot. The problem with my Tombow is that I have very little wiggle time to move it about. And also, I tend to get more adhesive on there than I even want. So we'll see how it works. I'm not comfortable using it, but we'll give it a try. I do use it for embellishments and whatnot, but not for paper placement, because I always want to move it a bit, and I don't have the ability to do that for very long. You have about 2 seconds, and then you're good. And see, I got a little piece of it right there too, and it's gonna mar my card. This is why I don't use this. If I'd gotten a piece of my rubber cement here, I could have just rubbed it away and it would not have marred my card at all. But this left a mark, so that's why I do not use it, except for I use it for putting, if I was going to put a ribbon on here, I would want to use it, and that's about it. For that, or for anything else that needs to be adhered really well, you're going to want to use that. But otherwise, I use my rubber cement. It works a lot better. Now I'm going to get my sponge back out, if I can find it. Try to go over my spot, and it's not going to really work, and I'm disappointed by that. Should not have remembered to use my other stuff. And why can't I use my rubber cement? Well, I could. Let me flip my camera up here so I can talk to you. I actually could.